Γέροντα Χριστός Ανέστη.
Elder Christ is risen. Truly he is risen. We can start now. Of course, Nicholas, yes. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, now and forever, and ever, ages. Amen. Christ is risen from the dead by death, having trampled on death, and by those in the tombs, restoring life. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, both now and forever, and to the ages of ages. Amen. I rejoice that I'm once again with you after quite a while now for this meeting. I saw that video as well that you made of our spiritual grandfather, St. Joseph the Hesychist, for the welcome of his holy relics. It's with great joy that we gave to Father Theodore a part of the holy relic of St. Joseph the Hesychist, because firstly he and all of the parish of the Holy Cross in Georgia have a fervor towards St. Joseph the Hesychist. And that's why, having seen in the video that they gave to us, that they presented forward to us, very many priests and quite a few people were there, of course, to welcome this great treasure.
Ο πατήρ Θεόδωρος ευτυχώς, δεν ξέρω, εφωτίστηκε από τον Θεό, πληροφορήθηκε από τον Θεό, κατάλαβε ότι πρέπει να συνδεθεί με το Άγιον Όρος.
Father Theodore, fortunately, might we say, was informed by God, was enlightened by God, whatever it was, realized that it was important that he, together with his parish, found a way so that they might be united with the tradition and in general with Mount Athos at large. And so was connected and found company on Mount Athos and with the monasteries in Arizona, and as well with the spiritual child of St. Joseph the Hesychist, which he found when he was there alive still, Elder Ephraim of Arizona. Father Theodore also went to Cyprus and was connected and found company with the Bishop of the Metropolitan of Lemesu, Bishop Athanasius, who's also a spiritual grandson of St. Joseph the Hesychist. He, of course, is connected to us as well. And so the last time that he came here, and of course it was recent, his last visit here, I gave him a small part of the holy relic of St. Joseph the Hesychist, so that he might have there for the sanctification, for the blessing of those faithful there. Because I think it's a correct position that he has to have that spiritual connection with the place of that authentic tradition, which is Mount Athos. Because truly, Mount Athos is that place for more than 1,000 years, where that true authentic Athonite tradition shows the Orthodox spirituality as it exists in its authentic, genuine way.
η σύναξή μας είναι αφιερωμένη στους οικογένειες των πολυτέχνων.
That's why I'm gladdened as well that today our synaxis, our meeting, has been brought together and dedicated to those young families with many children.
Εγώ είμαι μέλος πολυτέχνων οικογένειας.
And I'm gladdened as well because I was a member and am a member of a large family, a family of many children.
Η μητέρα μου έκανε 8 παιδιά στην ουσία.
My mother had 8 children in essence.
Και χαίρομαι γιατί πάντοτε απέλαυσα από πρώτο χέρι τη χάρη της πολυτεχνίας.
And I'm overjoyed in that I was able to see and taste firsthand the great grace of having a large family of many children.
Εις γάμου κοινωνία
Because a person who enters into that communion of marriage
πρέπει οπωσδήποτε να φέρει καρπούς πνευματικούς
must most certainly bring spiritual crop and fruit.
και δόξα σοι ο Θεός όταν θέλουν και έχουν και την ανάλογη υγεία.
And glory to God when those people wish to and have that analogous health.
Τα παιδιά τους
Those couples can have children and raise those children.
ένα μυστήριο. Πώς μια μητέρα, ένας πατέρας αγαπά τα παιδιά του χωρίς κόπο.
And it's a mystery. How does a father and a mother love their children without effort, without toil?
Και όχι μόνο αγαπά τα παιδιά του χωρίς κόπο,
And not just loves their children without effort,
αλλά όταν δίνουν οι γονείς την αγάπη στα παιδιά
but when parents give their love to their children
και δεν ανταποκρίνονται τα παιδιά,
and the children don't reply this love, it's a very great cross.
έτσι τα έκανε ο Θεός.
That's the way God made things to be. That's the natural life.
Και βλέπετε μέσα στο μοναχισμό, επειδή βλέπω και μοναστικές αδελφότητες δεν είναι παρούσες,
And one can see that inside of the monastic tradition, because I can see that monastic communities and brotherhoods and sisterhoods have joined us,
όχι να καταργήσει την πολυτεχνία,
a person comes and becomes a monk or a nun not to get rid of or to cast aside the life of families,
να φύγει από την κοσμική ζωή,
but with the yearning that one has as a gift from God, wants to leave the worldly life so they can devote themselves completely and wholly to God.
δεν κάνει την καταφύση ζωή.
That's why a monk doesn't live according to his nature, according to one's own nature. But what does a monk do? The supernatural life.
Τα συναισθηματικά δεδομένα,
They leave those emotional and sentimental parts of life. They leave the natural things that might be important parts of life and raises above them
και προσβλέπει προς τον ουρανό.
and supersedes them so that they might look towards the heavens, towards God in the heaven.
Φρονεί τα άνω, μη τα επί της γης. Όπως λέει ο Απόστολος.
They think of those things in the heaven rather than those things on the earth, as the Apostle Paul says.
Μέρες αναστάσιμες.
But now, inasmuch as we are walking through days of the resurrection,
Και ξέρετε ότι ο χαιρετισμός σήμερα ο ένας τον άλλον είναι Χριστός Ανέστη.
and as you know, the greeting that we have in these days from one to another is Christ is risen. Truly, he is risen.
Θέλω να ευχηθώ σε όλους τους αγαπητούς Γεωργιανούς.
That's why I wish to say to all of my beloved Georgian brothers and sisters, Christ is risen.
Και ακριβώς τώρα σε αυτήν την αναστάσιμη περίοδο
And exactly in this resurrectory period that we live in,
συνεχώς όλοι μας περιστρεφόμεθα
we're constantly thinking
το πρόσωπο του αναστάντος Χριστού.
about that person, the resurrected person of Jesus Christ.
Και ακριβώς βλέπουμε, και εγώ πολλές φορές σκέφτομαι στο κελί μου και λέγω
And many times we see, and I myself think inside of in my cell, and I say,
«Ως θρησκείας ανεστήθη».
who is the beginning of some religion who resurrected himself? No one.
Μόνον ο Χριστός, ο οποίος Χριστός δεν είναι αρχηγός,
Only Jesus Christ, who is not some starter of a religion.
είναι ο αληθινός Θεός ημών,
He is our true God,
ο οποίος κατεπάτησε τον διάβολον,
who trampled down on the devil.
κατήργησε τον θάνατο
He got rid of and eradicated death.
και σήμερα ακριβώς μας δίνει αυτήν την δύναμη
And today, exactly, he gives us that great
να
strength
περάσουμε τα πάθη μας,
so that we might supersede and surpass our passions,
περάσουμε τις αδυναμίες μας
to surpass our own weaknesses,
και με όλον το είναι μας να ποθούμε, να νοσταλγούμε
and with all of ourselves, with every part of ourself to yearn for, and to have that nostalgic love, and to keep persisting so that we might identify ourselves completely with Him.
Γι' αυτό πρέπει έτσι μέσα στις περιπέτειες της ζωής.
That's why inside of those tribulations of life, because I'm speaking first and foremost to those families of many children, of many members, which is not something easy to live inside of. Of course, it's a very great joy to have many children, but it's not easy. It's not easy to make ends meet. It's not easy to handle and to put up and to stand with all the sicknesses, the difficulties, with all of the wildnesses and untamely nature of children. Because children nowadays have a lot of egoism and selfishness. They insist. They live as a very true way of life, rebellion. And as well, I remember there was a child who was 15 years old who came here to Athos with his father, and he was constantly rebelling and answering back to his parents. He was even threatening his parents, saying, I'll kill you, I'll kill you. And when his father brought him here, I found him, we were alone, the two of us, myself and him. And I said, why are you doing these things? Is it possible that you speak to your parents like this and you threaten them in this way? And what do you think he confessed to me? He said to me, in the friendships that I have with those students that I'm with outside, is that which we're being taught, that which we're being said inside of those companies that we have, the friendships that we have, is that human power is constantly found by not allowing other people to tell us what to do. And I've been influenced by all of these people, all of these things. And I make my life very unfortunate, he said to me. And I make the life of those around me unfortunate as well, and difficult. That's why I'll never forget one time that I was coming back to Monastery from Athos. I saw some signs and posters that were stuck onto those telegraph poles. I saw these signs once or twice, and there was a saying said on these signs, I want what I want, with 3 full stops afterwards. And I thought, Lord of mercy, what is this thing that I'm seeing in front of me? And then I went another half a kilometer down the road and I saw again another sign with even larger writing. I want what I want, with 3 full stops and then an exclamation mark as well. But Lord have mercy, this is something which causes problems. This is a cunning thought. This is a cunning thing that's being sent out. I went another kilometer down and they'd stuck the same signs once again. And exactly, I was very upset by this and saddened because it was a message, a satanic message that was being sent out. I want what I want. Why exactly? I want to make my will to be strengthened. That's why we see our Christ coming to the earth, did very many things when he was here, in the years that he was here on the earth. One thing he projected to us and said to us that he came here to do specifically. And he said to us, I did not come here to do my own will, but the will of my Father who sent me. That's why how much monasticism nowadays. And today, with that teaching of ceaselessly cutting off one's own will, how much it draws in and welcomes the grace of the Holy Spirit,
όταν ζούμε την εν Χριστώ ζωή.
and how much when we live that life in Christ,
Μια χαρά στο περιβάλλον.
inside of even that environment, one sees there is a joy, a peace,
Μια ησυχία.
a stillness, a tranquility,
Μια αγάπη.
a divine love,
Ένας Θείος πόθος.
a divine yearning.
Και προσεύχονται οι μοναχοί υπερόλης της οικουμένης.
And monks pray then for all of the universe, for all of the world.
Τον αδελφοί μου, και εσείς όλοι που είστε μέσα στον κόσμο,
That's why, brothers and sisters, you who are outside in the world,
να αγωνίζεστε
struggle
και να μιμήσετε
so that you might copy,
όση δύναμης, όση μην δύναμης.
so that you might copy those monks in the way they live as much as your strength might allow, as much as is possible for you in that life that you live.
Γι' αυτό βλέπετε και οι παλιές γυναίκες. Εγώ θυμάμαι τη μάνα μου.
That's why you might remember women before,
Μοναχή στο τέλος.
women before in previous generations, and I remember my mother, who at the end of her life became a nun as well.
13 χρόνια σε μοναχή.
For 13 years, the last 13 years of her life, she lived as a nun.
Εγώ θυμάμαι
And I remember
δίλη της,
that beforehand, even she was with,
φόρεμα το μακρύ φόρεμα, δηλαδή και οι κοσμικοί άνθρωποι.
she would wear a long dress.
Εντυνόντουσαν σαν τους μοναχούς.
She would cover her head with a cloth. And even the garments that she would wear, the clothes she would wear as monks would wear, as nuns would wear, in that monastic clothing, that modest form of clothing,
Την καθαρότητα.
because they had as a value system purity, modesty,
Την αγνότητα.
and inside of that purity, they had temperance,
Σεβασμό.
respect,
Όπως φιλούσαν το χέρι, όπως φιλούν το χέρι οι αδελφοί μοναχοί στο γέροντα ή οι αδελφές μοναχές στη γερόντισσα.
and just like other brother monks might kiss the hand and take the blessing of an elder, or nuns might take the blessing of their abbess,
Εγώ θυμάμαι τη μητέρα μου,
before communing, I remember specifically my mother, who would go and commune,
του κοινωνικού επροσκυνούσαν όπως οι μοναχοί,
and just before going to commune, just like the monks and nuns, she would venerate all the icons and go and kiss the hand of her mother,
του πατέρα της
her father,
και της νονάς της.
and her godmother.
Και τα βλέπω τώρα που είμαι μοναχός και λέω πώς επέδρασε η μοναστική ζωή.
And I remember seeing those things now as a monk, how much monastic life influenced the way that those people used to live in the world.
Αυτό να μην ξεχνάμε ότι η ζωή έχει πολλές περιπέτειες.
That's why might we never forget that life has very many tribulations, has very many difficulties,
Εμπόδια.
has many blocks along the way.
Αλλά δεν αδικούμαστε όταν είμαστε κοντά στον Χριστό.
But we never feel like we're dealt unjustly to if we're close to God.
Εγώ τον γέροντα μου, τον γέροντα Ιωσήφ,
I remember my elder Joseph,
από μικρός, από 15 χρονών, είδε
who from a young age, when he was 15 years old, saw Christ himself.
και το γράφουμε αυτό στο βιβλίο του.
And I write this in the book that we wrote about my elder, which has been translated into Georgian as well now.
Πολλοί από εσάς το πήρετε και το διαβάσατε.
And I've been told that quite a few of you
Προτρέπω να το ξαναδιαβάσετε.
have got this book and have read it. And I say to you, you should read it again, whoever has got it, because this book was written with very many tears. And it took us 3 years to sit down and gather things to write in this book.
Το Χριστόν ο γέροντας Ιωσήφ,
And I remember we wrote in the book that when Elder Joseph saw Christ 15 years old, when he was 15 years old, Christ said to him,
έτσι λεγόταν το κοσμικό του.
Socrates, that's what Elder Joseph was called when he was a layman,
Τον έπλασα για να είναι αθάνατος.
I made a human being, I created a human being so that he might be eternal.
Θέλουμε να είναι ο σταυρός μας ελαφρύς.
That's why we wish for our cross to be light.
Θέλουμε να είναι ο ζυγός μας Χριστός.
We wish for our yoke to be Christ
ελαφρών.
and that load to be light.
Να προσβλέπουμε προς τον Χριστό.
Might we always look towards Christ.
Και όταν προσβλέπουμε προς τον Χριστό,
And when we look towards Christ always and ceaselessly, when we identify ourselves with Christ,
τότε θα βλέπουμε και τότε θα βλέπουμε την παρουσία του στην καρδιά μας.
Then we will see his presence inside of our hearts.
Και τότε θα αυξάνει μέσα μας η
And then inside of us, that faith, the vision, will increase inside of us.
και τότε δεν θα μετράμε τα πράγματα στην οικογένειά μας λογικά.
And then we won't count those things that happen inside of our families in a logical way.
Και τότε θα τα δίνουμε όλα στον Θεό.
And then we'll give everything up to God.
Και τότε θα τηρούμε επακριβώς αυτό που λέμε σε κάθε ακολουθία.
And then we'll keep that which is said in every single divine liturgy that we celebrate.
Εαυτούς και αλλήλους. Και πάσα τη ζωή λοιπόν.
Ourselves and all things might we give to Christ our God, always and in all things.
Δεν θα υπολογίσουμε για την πολυτεκνία.
And then we will not And then we will not be worried about how many children we might have and the problems that we have with having a large family, not the economic things,
Την αντοχή μας.
not how much we might handle and cope with these difficulties,
Σε όλη τη ζωή μας
because we will constantly live and experience inside of our lives that every single thing that we have, everything that we accomplish,
ούτε από τον θέλοντα, ούτε από τον τρέχοντα.
is not dependent on he who wills or he who runs, but on God who shows mercy.
Και τότε θα κάνουμε παιδιά όσα θέλει ο Θεός.
And then we will have as many children as God wishes us to have, and he will help us.
Θα μας ευλογήσει ο Θεός
He will bless us,
και θα επιτύχουμε.
and we will succeed. And we will definitely succeed.
Και με την πολυτεκνία θα δοξολογείται ο Θεός.
And with having many children, God will be glorified as healthy members of his church,
Προχωρούμε και γινόμεθα μέτοχοι της Βασιλείας των Ουρανών.
and we will proceed and become partakers of the kingdom of heaven. And I pray
Ως μέλη της Βασιλείας των
that all of us as members
θα υποδοχθούμε και τα παιδιά μας.
of members of the kingdom of heaven, might you also welcome your children there.
Χριστέ αυτά.
Christ is risen.
Νομίζω, Πάτερ Θεόδωρο, να σταματήσουμε εδώ.
I think, Father Theodore, I've said enough things now. I'm looking at the clock as well, and I'll welcome questions of our brothers and sisters.
Διότι κάποιος μου είπε που καταλαβαίνει, λέει, μην μιλάς πολύ. μου
Because someone who understands these things said to me, don't speak a lot. They don't want to hear you talk so much. They prefer to ask questions so that you can give them a chance to ask some questions as well.
Και εγώ άλλο που δεν θέλω να μιλώ και πολύ.
And I don't want to speak always too much as well. So I found a good excuse. I do my obedience and I don't speak so much. See, I'm so-called obedient, and I give myself a chance to be obedient to this as well. Elder Father Theodore would like to speak to you first.
Θεόδωρε, Χριστέ αυτά.
Father Theodore, Christ is risen. Truly he is risen. Father Theodore, your microphone.
Αληθώς Ανέστη.
Truly he is risen.
Αμήν, αμήν.
Amen. Your blessing, Father.
Εγώ πόσο μάλλον θα μιλήσω σύντομα.
I as well would like to speak just shortly.
ბერძენი ქრისტიანებისათვის და ყველა საერთოდ ყველა ქრისტიანისათვის ეს მრავალშვილია ოჯახის შვილების რაოდენობა რა მრავალშვილიანობა ეს საერთოდ პრობლემა არის ესე მგონია დღეს მთელ საქრისტიანოში
Εγώ νομίζω ότι για μας τους
I
Γεωργιανούς
think that for us here, Georgian Christians, just as you in Greece, and in general all Orthodox Christians around the world, having many children has become a problem.
საქართველოს მაგალითზე თუ ვიტყვით და ზოგიერთი ქვეყნის რომელიც ისტორიას ასე თუ ისე ვიცი სანამ ქრისტიანობა ყვაოდა ქვეყანაში შვილები ბევრი იბადებოდა
Εγώ όσο ξέρω από την ιστορία της χώρας μου
As much as I know from the history of my land here,
έχουν χριστιανικό
and in general those other nations who have a Christian history,
σε κάποια χώρα
when Christianity started to blossom, and to triumph inside of those countries. Having many children was always something that was an important part of the community, and analogous and corresponding with lessening that Christian value system inside of those countries, having large families started to fall as well and started to become less popular. Yes, I agree.
არის ერთგვარი ილუსტრაცია სახდეს ჩვენი ქრისტიანობისას.
Άρα εμείς μπορούμε να συμπεράνουμε από αυτό ότι
So we can conclude that from these things, that small presence of having families with many children, large families, shows that we have a fall in our Christian state, in those Christian value systems inside of our countries.
მამა ეფრემ და თქვენთან ამ საკითხზე ურთიერთობა ძალიან დიდი დახმარება იქნება როგორც ჩვენი ქვეყნისთვის, ჩვენი სამრევლოსთვის, ისე ყველა მართლმადიდებელი ქრისტიანისათვის. დიდი მადლობა ამისთვის.
Γι' αυτό η ομιλία
That's
σας
why your talk today and in general, this meeting that we've had on this issue of large families, families with many children, is a very great help and will be a great help for our community, for our parish, and I believe for all of those Christians around the whole world.
Αυτά ήθελα να σας πω εν συντομία.
That's what I wanted to say to you in short.
მადლობას გიხდით მამა ეფრემ იმ კეთილი სიტყვებისათვის და ურთიერთობისათვის.
Ένα ευχαριστώ θέλω απλώς να
And
σας
a very
πω
great thank you I'd like to say to you personally,
σχέση που έχουμε
and for that relation and connection that we have, and also for that word that you give to us and that presence that you have for our parish at large, and that we have you.
თქვენი მოსახელე წმინდა
Because
თეოდორე
I'd like to also show you the new book that we've translated into Georgian, which is the life of Saint Theodore, Sikeotis, Saint Theodore of the Skeet, who's a very great saint who has a very wondrous and miraculous life. He died exactly one day before the feast day of St. George, and St. George said, "We will be found in heaven on my celebration, on my feast day." And inasmuch as St. George is a protector of your land, of your nation, you'll see that the life of St. Theodore is very miraculous, very wondrous. And Father Theodokos tried to put many maps and a lot of information to teach those people who would read it and understand as much as they possibly can, to understand how St. Theodore lived, where he lived, and how the events of his life unraveled.
ადამიანს შეუძლია ჩაერთოს ამ სივრცეში, სადაც ცხოვრობდა ეს წმინდანი უფრო ადვილად.
Γι' αυτό παρακαλώ πολύ έτσι να το πάρετε αυτό.
Გირჩევთ რომ ეს
That's why I
წიგნი
say to you, as many of you as want, you can take this book, you can have this book.
Έχετε πάρει μονή με τον πατέρα Ιωάννη εκεί, διότι έχουν τόσα.
And I've said that, however, what profit might be taken from this book will be given as a gift to the parish that you have there of yourself and Father Joseph, because you have many needs in your parish there. So whatever income might come from this book shall be given to your parish there, so that the nuns as well, the nuns there who are connected to the church there, might have these funds, because it's very difficult for them the way they live their life to make ends meet.
Και το άλλο το βιβλίο, πατέρα Θεόδωρε, που το ξέρετε.
And the other book, which you know, of course, which has been translated into Georgian, is that book, Mystagogy of Prayer. And I wrote this book word by word.
Είναι η μόνη μετάφραση που βγήκε σε
It's
άλλη.
the only translation of this book so far in Georgian. This book has only been translated into Georgian so far. St. Joseph's life has been translated into Romanian and into other languages as well, and into Russian and Ukrainian as well.
Αυτό το βιβλίο είναι οι αδελφές της Μονής Διακονές στη Ρουμανία δεν το έχουν έτοιμο.
But this book, the Sisters of the Monastery Diakonesti in Romania haven't got ready the translation into Romanian, but in Georgian we've had it prepared.
Για να ωφεληθεί ο κόσμος.
Of course, so people might be benefited,
Είναι πολύ επωφελή για όλους.
because I think these sorts of books are very beneficial for us to read.
Και οι προσευχές του γέροντα από τις απομονώσεις
And the prayers of Elder Joseph
είναι μόνο που
that we had recorded, So we've had recorded in cassette tapes from his talks to us. Just reading these prayers is enough to bring a person to tears.
ჩვენმა სამრევლომ ეს მამა იოსებზე ორივე წიგნი გვაქვს და ჩვენთან იყიდებოდა კიდევაც ძალიან შეიყვარა.
And both books have circulated in our parish here, and many people have loved these books very much. And the third book, has it circulated? He says it's just started to circulate, the third book as well.
თეოდორეს გულისხმობ და მინდა მადლობა გითხრათ იმისათვის რომ მამა თეოდორს მადლობა უთხრა და თქვენ რომ მამა თეოდორს ეძლევა საშუალება რომ ესეთი წიგნები გვითარგმნოს.
And now with great yearning we remember that third book that you said now of Saint Theodore of the Skate. He says, and you have to most certainly read this book because you have his name as well. And the fact that you give to the fathers the chance that they might be concerned with making translations of these books is a very great blessing for us. Now we're also preparing so that we might translate the letters of St. Joseph the Hesychist into Georgian as well. And the life, the biography of St. Joseph the Hesychist together with his epistles, his letters. Elder Joseph wrote the life of St. Joseph the Hesychist, his elder, in a very, very deep theological way, giving very great messages, and you'll like this book very much. You'll love this book very much. Father Theodore, we love very much our Georgian brothers and sisters because they're a very hurt people. They've been dealt very unjustly to, and they've been exploited very much. But God is with you. Don't fear. Thank you very much, Elder, for your love and for your words.
Anna, microphone chart. Modebat.
Your blessing, Elder. The Lord's.
რა უნდა გავაკეთოთ, რომ ცოლ ურთიერთობაში სიყვარული მარად მზარდი იყოს და როგორ აისახება ეს შვილებს?
What should we do so that the love that we have inside of a married couple might always increase, and that might influence our children in a positive way? You should always love Christ and keep loving Christ, because as much as you love Christ, that love will then blossom between the two of you, and then it will mirror and influence the children. One cannot have true love if one does not love Christ. And that's something that very many people forget. The world very much forgets this. I read many messages, and they send to me messages from politicians from our land here, from our country. And they speak about love. And I read these things and I'm very upset, very saddened by these things. Because we cannot speak about love if the center of our life is not Christ. That's why first we need to have love for God, and in general, an active spiritual life. And if we have true love as a couple, husband and wife, then one will accept the other person as they are for the name and for the sake of Christ. That is the accomplished and the perfect, successful marriage. The successful marriage is not for a man and a woman to be perfect. Each person has their weaknesses. But in the name of the love for Christ, one gives way to the other.
Είναι ωραία τα παιδάκια, σε χαριτωμένο.
Λάμα-
Your children are beautiful children. Thank you very much.
ნინო ყურაშვილი მიკროფონი ჩართოთ.
დაგლოცეთ.
ევლეგით.
ჩვენ 7 შვილი ყავს და ესეთი კითხვა გვაქვს.
ეხმე
როგორ ავზარდოთ?
ეფტაპედია.
We have 7 children,
ეფტაპედია και πάντα διορωτόμαστε πώς να τα ανατρέφουμε.
and we always ask ourselves, how might we raise these children?
Με φόβον Θεού πάντα. Με φόβον.
With fear of God always.
Βούντα άγზαρτους ბავშვები. ίσως θέλει να προσθέσει κάτι. დიახ.
ისე რომ შინაგანი სიწმინდე შეინარჩუნა.
Πώς να αναθρέψουμε τα παιδιά έτσι ώστε
How can we raise our children in a way so that we might keep with them their internal purity? Send them from a young age so that they might confess.
Το παιδί στην ουσία είναι από 5 χρονών.
A child, in essence, from 5 years old,
Να μάθει να εξομολογεί.
has to learn to start to confess.
5 χρονών.
I've confessed children who are 5 years old, from 5 years old.
Και διασκεδάζω μαζί τους.
Now we often play and
Δεν τους μιλώ σαν είναι παιδάκια.
we often play in confession, and we have fun in confession, but I don't speak to them like they're children. I speak to them as if they're adults, and we sit and have a conversation, have a dialogue.
Ωφελούμε από τις
And many times they have very good things to say and very important opinions, and many times I'm benefited by the things that those children have to say, and I'm very gladdened. Thank you.
εντάξει.
დამლოცეთ მამა.
ევლეგით.
Your blessing, the Lord's.
სამი შვილი ყავს ეს უფროსი ბიჭია. ესეთი შეკითხვა მაქვს, რა უნდა გავაკეთოთ იმისათვის განსხვავებული ასაკის ბავშვებთან, რომ ერთად ქრისტეს სიყვარულით და ერთობით შევძროთ ცხოვრება.
Έχω 3 παιδιά, αυτός είναι ο μεγαλύτερος.
I have 3 children. This is my oldest child.
Πώς πρέπει να επειδή έχουν διαφορετικές τάξεις διαφέρουν στην ηλικία.
Because they have all different ages, how can we be united and how can we find that connecting chink to connect us all together in those different ages as a family? Christ connects us in all things and all ways.
Θα μάθεις τα παιδιά σου να προσεύχονται.
First, you'll teach your children how to pray,
Να νηστεύουν.
to fast.
Θα τα μάθεις να εξομολογούνται.
Teach your children to confess.
Θα μάθεις να κοινωνούν του Χριστού.
Teach them to commune Christ, the body and blood of Christ.
Θα δεις πώς θα φωτίζονται από το Θεό και να έχουν
And you'll see how they'll be enlightened so that they might have love between them
και σεβασμό.
and have respect and love for you as parents as well.
Και πάντα να τους μιλάτε για τους βίους των Αγίων.
And speak to them always about the lives of the saints.
Είναι αδιανόητο η μάνα και ο πατέρας να μην εξηγήσουν στο παιδί τους για το βίο του Αγίου που φέρουν το όνομά του.
განსაკუთრებით
It's completely impossible that a mother and father, if they want to teach their children to live a life in Christ, that they might not tell them about the story of the life of the saint that that child celebrates, the saint that their name is dedicated to. Thank you. Thank you.
Georgi Khutsishvili, microphone.
Christos Anesti Geron Dialogite.
Christ is risen, elder. Your blessing. Truly he is risen.
Είμαστε 4 αδέλφια εμείς.
We are 4 siblings. We thank you very much for having blessed us today.
ყოფით ცხოვრებაში უკეთ შევიმეცნოთ ქრისტე. ანუ ყოფით ცხოვრებაში უკეთ შევიმეცნოთ ქრისტე.
Τι συμβουλή θα μας δίνατε
What advice do you have to give to us as a large family in our daily life? What practical advice might you give to us? How we might come into knowledge of Christ and meet with Christ in our everyday life. I will tell you that which St. John Chrysostom says and teaches us, which says everything. Partake of all, but remain away from sin. That has everything inside. A person has the right, as a human being, to do whatever they want except for sin. And then it can be of God. It can be God's. And then Christ governs and reigns over your household. Thank you very much, Elder. Thank you.
Microphone charted.
Your blessing, Elder. The Lord's. I have 3 children. If you could say to me, Elder, what's the guarantee of the correct but also free raising of the children that I have? Teach them and say to them that so that they might love Christ, to love Christ. And like I said to you, in the beginning, enter them inside of the sacramental life of the church. It's a very horrible thing when parents come and have complaints about their children, and I say to the father, for example, he says, you're even worse than your children. You were even worse than your children. You were constantly living outside on the streets. What sort of teaching, what sort of education did you hand down to your children? Because yes, his father might have come to Christ after 50 years old, but beforehand, he was fighting the church, so to speak. And his children used to hear how he might tease priests. He would mock the things of Christ, the things of the church. The children would hear these things. And then what does he want these children to be like when they grow up? That's why from young children, there has to be a correct catechesis, a correct teaching and education for those children. The first school, the first tutorials for a child are their home. The child's first teachers are their parents, their mother and their father. I am now 66 years old. And I still remember my illiterate mother who finished primary school. She would say advice to me, and that advice I still think and hear and remember now as a monk, and that advice still has benefit to me and helps me even now as a monk so many years later. Exactly because those parents are positions set by the grace of the Holy Spirit. Their word has strength, and that word sits inside of the heart of those children. If that word is according to God, then it will have a good outcome. And most certainly, if it's not according to God, it will be according to the devil. And then, once again, that word will sit inside of our heart. And you can understand then. Thank you.
Anna Tabadadze, microphone charted.
Christe Athos,
Χριστός Ανέστη.
Christ is risen. Truly he is risen.
ჩვენ სამი დედმამიშვილი ვართ და მაქვს ესეთი შეკითხვა. შეიძლება იყოს თუ არა ესეთ შემთხვევაში დადუმებაზე მეტად თავის მართლებაა საჭირო.
Είμαστε τρία παιδιά.
We're three children, and I have a practical question to ask you. Are there times where more than just silence, a person needs to answer back or to justify oneself? It depends on each situation. If it doesn't worry them to remain silent, it's better that one might remain silent. But if because of their silence they have a greater problem because they were silent and they weren't able to speak, there's a pressure, there's a worriness because they were silent, then they have to learn how to speak. Thank you very much.
გამლოცეთ.
Your blessing, Elder. The Lord's.
ჩვენ 4 დედმამიშვილი ვართ.
We're 4 siblings.
მეორე.
Are you the first? Second. Because I was first in the family.
ესეთი კითხვა მექნება შვილების ზოგადად ბავშვების სულიერი მომწიფებისთვის რამდენად დიდი მნიშვნელობა აქვს ოჯახში საერთო ლოცვას, ერთობლივ ლოცვას.
My question is, how much importance does that common prayer have inside of a family so that the children might ripen and grow up in the right way? Common prayer altogether is very important for a family. And St. John Chrysostom says exactly that the family has to go all together to church. And just as Christ said, wherever 2 or 3 are found together in my name, so I am in their midst. Which is to say that common prayer brings Christ amongst us together. He is present there with us. Unseen, together with us. Thank you.
Salome, მიკროფონი ჩართეთ.
დამლოცეთ მე უფრო. ჩვენ ვართ 4 დედმამიშვილი.
Είμαστε 4 αδελφιά εμείς.
We're 4 siblings.
ღმერთმა გაცხონოთ ყველაო. Αλλά εμείς το λέμε και κειμένος αυτό. Θα ζήσετε λίμες.
Τι λέμε στους δόντες?
Δεν λέμε. Διάχ.
ესეთი კითხვა მაქვს, როგორი უნდა იყოს მორწმუნე ადამიანის ურთიერთობა თავისი არაეკლესიური ოჯახის წევრების მიმართ?
What relation does a faithful person has to have inside of their family, in as much as those members of their family are not members of the church, don't believe in God? Don't cast them aside, and with respect always speak to them, and inside of that secret way, the way that you live your life, might it be a witness and a confession of Christ himself in your life. And that's the greatest sermon that you might give. Thank you very much.
Nino, microphone çarptı. Nino, çarptı.
Damlocet.
Eblogit.
Your blessing, Elder, the Lord's.
როგორც ვიცით, წმინდა მამებმა შეიყვარეს კომფორტის ზონიდან გამოსვლის მდგომარეობა. როგორ ვებრძოლოთ კომფორტის გადაჭარბების სიყვარულს?
Εμείς είμαστε τρία αδέλφια.
We're three siblings, and we learned from the Holy Fathers that the Holy Fathers cast aside ease in their life, and that which creates ease in our life. What can we do inside of our families to live that life where one casts aside ease in their life, to live according to that which is necessary, according to the bounds of one's own needs, and not to the bounds of one's own desires? Thank you very much.
Mariam Gabunia, μικρόφωνο chart. Είναι γνωστή μας αυτή.
Ναι,
Με του πατέρα Ιωάννη πολύ... Η πιο
Your blessing. The Lord's, Mariam. How is Father John? Thank you very much. He's very well. We love him very much. It's a true monastery there with the true Orthodox spirit, which is a very great blessing for your land, for your nation. May God give him many years. Give him our prayers and our blessings. Most certainly, with great joy.
ბავშვებთან მიმართებაში ბევრი რაღაც ხდება კომპიუტერით, ინტერნეტით.
όπως γνωρίζετε, Mariam, ის თქვათ, რომ 5 შვილი ყავს, ხო? Έχει 5 παιδιά και σήμερα
And we have 5 children, and today many lessons that we have and tutorials and teachers and tutors that we have are done over the internet on the computer.
ბავშვებს და სულ რა ვიცი, სულ გვაქვს კამათი, რომ ვიხართ კომპიუტერთან ზედმეტად და რა ვიცი, სულ სწავლა და სწავლისკენ მაქვს ხოლმე გამახვილებული ყურადღება და მეც ნერვიულდები, ესენიც ნერვიულობენ ძალიან, რომ რატო გვიშლიამდენ ყველაფერს და მარტო სწავლისკენ რატო ხარ ესე მიმართული.
μετά όταν κάθονται πολλή ώρα στον
And
υπολογιστή.
afterwards, when they've sat down on the computer for many years, for a long time, doing their lessons, and then trying to sit down and study on the computer again for many hours. There are many other things that they want to sit and do on the computer afterwards, things that aren't beneficial for them. And in as much as their schooling is done on the computer now, everything is stuck onto the computer, and they have complaints to me that why aren't they allowed to sit on the computer and play games and do other things, in as much as they have their computer for their lessons. And I'm very much concerned with these things. How can I find that middle line? How much should I let them to be on the computer? Don't worry, Mariam, about your children. I can see your children the way they are. Whoever he is, that one down there, he does things in hiding, in secret. They do secret things in hiding. They find their own way to do what they want to do. Because they tell you lies and do whatever they want to do up and down 100 times to do whatever they want to do in the house. Whatever they want to do, whatever you want to do, they'll find a way. They'll find a way to see whatever they want, to do whatever they want, to play whatever they want on the computer. How can I find that middle road so that because the one in front is a little bit cunning, is a little bit tricky. He's a good child, but he's a little bit cunning the way he finds a way to do whatever he wants. Mariam, just pray, keep praying, make sure you keep praying. Unfortunately, children nowadays are inside of those causes. in the middle of the heart of all of those causes. Thank you very much.
Sopo Klaidje.
Sopo, mikrofoni çarptı.
დამოწეთ მეუფეო.
Eblogit
Ο Κύριος
Your
Σοφία.
blessing, Elder, the Lord's, Sophia.
მადლობა. მე 7 დედმამიშვილი მყავს, სულ 8 ვართ. და ერთი ასეთი კითხვა მაქვს.
είμαστε 8.
We're 8 siblings. I have 7 brothers and sisters. Because you took over us.
ერთი ასეთი შეკითხვა მაქვს, აი როგორ უნდა გადანაწილდეს დრო ისე, რომ ლოცვას არ შეეშალოს ხელი, აი ბავშვების სიმრავლის გამო ოჯახში.
Πώς πρέπει να μοιράσει κανείς το χρόνο του ώστε
How should one share their time and cut up their time so that they might not cast aside their prayer and their attention with having many brothers and sisters? Make sure you keep a strict program. And specifically, even when you're at home and you might be cleaning, you might be cooking, you might be working around the house, to be saying the Jesus prayer. Lord Jesus Christ, have mercy on me. And as much as you can, get together all together in the morning to say the morning prayers. In the afternoon, come together to say an afternoon prayer. Compline after the evening, after the meal. It's a very nice thing if a person can put these sorts of things inside of their program. To say, this time we have a program to do these prayers all together. But the Jesus prayer is very beneficial when one has practical tasks to do around the house, if they can get into the habit of saying the Jesus prayer. The issue of that show that was shown in Greece, about the life of Saint Paisios, and it would be good if it could be organized, if that show, that series of episodes could be organized to be translated into Georgian as well. Mrs. Maria, who was in charge, could also organize for it to be translated. That which the director was able to show on screen in a very successful way was how a traditional Christian family lived. And it's a very great message for our modern day community. Those episodes, 9 episodes, where our monastery was in charge of organizing for this series to happen. In Greece, there were 4 million people who were watching each episode. It was a very important, significant message that was sent out. And now there'll be a second series. 9 episodes once again, to show the rest of the life of Saint Paisios. The first series, the first 9 episodes, were from the time when Saint Paisios was born up until when Saint Paisios became a monk. And the second series will be from when Saint Paisios was a monk here on Mount Athos till when he died. And of course, Saint Paisios was of a very large family. He had many siblings. Father Theodore, please do as much as you can so that we can find a way to send this show to Georgia as well. Your blessing, Elder, the Lord's. We have 4 children, 3 children and a young Thekla. May you live long. Forgive me if I make a mistake with the prayers that I say in Georgian, because you might. Because I remember one time I went to a small village in Greece and I said to them, a good paradise to all of you. And the lady there was very, very upset afterwards because she said, oh, you wish this for me so that I could die quickly.
თქვენთან შესახვედრად რომ ვემზადებოდით ოჯახი თეკლამ თავისი თოჯინები მოიყვანა აქ დასვა და ჩემ შვილებსაც უნდა მოვასმენი რომ მეუფე შეხვედრა
When we were preparing so that we might meet with you here, Thekla asked, thought that it was important that her dolls might also be present, so we've got them set up. Yes, of course, having all the members of the family are necessary because Thekla, without her dolls, can't present herself because she even sees these things in her dreams. As soon as she wakes up, the first thing that she wants is to see her dolls.
როგორ შევაყვაროთ პატარებს წმინდა მამები, რომლებიც პრაქტიკულ სულიერ ცხოვრებაში მათ გზას გაუკვალავთ.
What might we do so that our children will love those writings in the texts of the Holy Fathers, which give those great pieces of advice so that they might help them in their life? Tell them and speak to them and teach them your conversations to be about the lives of the saints, the narration of the lives of the saints, the events inside of the lives of the saints. It's important that you all sit together and eat all together as a family. Have your meals all together as a family, as one. And on the table, the father can say a couple of things, a couple of spiritual words, a couple of pieces of advice to keep the family together. Just like in the monastery. In the refectory, we have a reading, a spiritual reading that's read during the meal. St. John Chrysostom says it in a very nice way. When the body is hungry and has need of food, remember at the same time that then the soul also has need of nourishment, has need to be fed. That's the way it is. Thank you very much, Elder. Christ is risen.
Ηρακλή Σιτλάουρη.
Ηρακλή.
Μου θυμίζει το όνομα του πρωθυπουργού σας που το είμαστε φίλοι μαζί.
You remind me of the name of your president, who we've met before and we're friends. He's a good person, your president, your prime minister rather, and I'm glad that they re-voted him in. He's a good person. He very much loves those people in his land, and I believe that he will very much help the people of his land. We spoke recently, and I was joyed from our conversation because we welcomed him here. We welcomed him here when he left the first time from his governing there, when he passed here. And I invited him on the telephone saying that he should come here again so that we might officially welcome him now that he's once again taken that position that he has in his country. Your blessing, Elder. And the Patriarch, his name as a layperson before becoming Patriarch was Irakli as well, who we have a very great fervor and respect towards. And I gave one of the monks here the name Elias after the Patriarch of Georgia. And we ask publicly for his blessing and his prayers. And I yearn that I might go again to Georgia so that I might take his blessing in person before it comes time for him to leave his life from his life here. I've said it another time again. I said it in the conversation that we did in the university then. I say it to the students who are there. If people here in Greece ask me, what's the greatest treasure that you saw when you went over to Georgia on your visit there? I'll answer to them, the Patriarch of all of Georgia. And they all clapped as soon as I said this.
ჩვენ 4-ნი ვართ, 4 დედმამიშვილი ვართ, 3 ძმა და 1 და.
Είμαστε τρεις αδελφοί και μία αδελφή στην οικογένεια.
We're 3 brothers and 1 sister, 4 siblings in our family. Might you live long. Thank you, Elder.
თანამედროვე სამყაროში ოჯახისთვის ყველაზე მთავარი გამოწვევა.
Ποια είναι κατά τη γνώμη σας το σύγχρονο
According to your opinion, what is in today's contemporary age, the greatest attack, the greatest threat in a modern day family? It's that very cunning system that wants to serve to us and present to us that way of thinking and the mentality and that value system of the Antichrist. And unfortunately, that first threat, that first attack, which specifically happens here in Greece as well, we see those attacks of that whole way of thinking, that whole mentality of the Antichrist. Thank you very much.
Salome Webkhwatse. Mikrofoni ჩართეთ. Salome.
Დაგლოცე მამა.
Ευλογητέ.
Ο Κύριος.
Your blessing, Elder, the Lord's.
მე წინაზე ჩაგერთეთ ამერიკელებთან და როგორც მაკურთხეთ, შევასრულეთ თქვენი კურთხევა, ვიყავი ბევრეთში.
Εγώ και την άλλη φορά έχω μιλήσει μαζί σας και
I've spoken to you before another time as well. And you said to me that I might go to the monastery of Father John. And I went there. He is the spiritual father of my mother.
ჩვენ 6 და-ძმა ვართ და ჩემი ერთ-ერთი ძმა მამა თეოდოხეს ნათლულია.
Είμαστε 6 αδελφιά και ένας αδελφός μου είναι βαπτιστικού του...
Μოგესალმები, μάμα Θεόδωχε.
We are well known to you, and one of my brothers was baptized by Father Theodochos.
Θεόδωχე. მოგესალმები. არა, იმას დაუდახ. მამა, ძალიან კმაყოფილი ვარ. ეხლა ესეთი კითხვა მაქვს, უფრო საყვედური. ჩემი ოჯახის წევრები ძალიან ხმამაღლა საუბრობენ ერთმანეთში და ყურები მტკივდება. ვერაფრით ვერ შევაგნებინე, რომ დაბალი ხმის ტონით ისაუბრონ.
My question is very practical, but it might seem more of a complaint. You know more than anything what it might be like in a large family, what it's like, but all of the members of my family are constantly shouting and talking very loudly. And inside of our house, we never have silence, and we can't convince them to speak a bit softer. You'll get used to this. Just get used to it. Get used to it as much as you can. It's something that you can get used to. It would be blessed if this was the only problem that existed inside of a household. If that was the only problem in your household, then things are going very well.
მამა თეოდოხე, მოგიკითხათ თქვენმა ნათლულმა.
Βαπτιστικός μου στέλνει ευχές, λέει. Μადλობა.
As the The godson of Father Theodorus sends his blessings and his prayers. I have a question as well. When the children were young, we used to take them to church. Now that they've grown up, they don't have that disposition to come with us to church anymore. If the children were going to church when they were young, don't worry, don't be afraid. There'll come a time where they'll want to return again.
Δεν μας είπε η Σαλόμη όμως πώς πέρασε στο μοναστήρι.
Thank you very much. Salome didn't say to us that how did she spend her time then when she was at the monastery? Did she regret having gone to the monastery to see what it was like?
ეხლაც ვიყავი ორჯერ ჩასული და მამა იონესთან, ანუ ძალიან მომეწონა თვითონ ლიტურგიაც და მამა იონესთან საუბარიც.
Μου άρεσε πολύ και η λειτουργία
I liked very much the liturgy and the services and the liturgical life, the way they do there, the conversations and talking with Father John there. And I've gone 2 or 3 times and I remembered those things. And I was very at peace having gone there. Keep going to the monastery, visit the monastery, and you'll see it will help you. To tell you the truth, I didn't used to go there because Father John knows about our family a lot. He knows very many things about me. And inside of that embarrassment that he knows everything about me, I thought maybe it's best not to go there. But I have faith in the things that you say and your advice, and so as much as you've said it, I'll do it. Keep going there so you can open your heart and say those things you want to say to your spiritual father there, to Father John, and be obedient to those things that he advises you. Because it seems like you're a little bit rebellious, Salome. Now you started to realize, but beforehand, when you were younger, you were a little bit rebellious. And your poor mother, you gave her a bit of a hard time. To God, everything is open, everything is seen. There's nothing which is hidden to God. Thank you, Father. Elder, we have a question from the Facebook viewers. They ask very much if the film of Saint Nectarius will be sent to Georgia as well. And he said, we'll ask Father Theodore, we'll see. I think there's an effort being done by Father Theodore there to prepare the film of Saint Nectarius. And Mr. Fivos liked very much the film of Saint Nectarius. And Saint Paisios as well, the show he liked very much. And he would be happy to hear if it has also been translated and sent to Georgia as well.
David Abkhaidze.
დავით აფხაიძე მიკროფონი ჩართეთ. გამარჯობა დაგლოცეთ. ევლოგით ერონდა.
Your blessing, Elder. Christ is risen. Truly he's risen.
ამერიკაში წასვლაზე ვფიქრობ და რა შეგიძლიათ რომ გვირჩიოთ ამასთან დაკავშირებით?
Αυτά τα τρία είναι δικά μου παιδιά.
These are my 3 children here. Recently, we won a green card to be able to go to live in America. And we don't know now, we're thinking, what do you advise we do? Is it worth going to America to stay? I'll give you my advice. Let your children study their first upper education levels in their own nation, in their own land. And then if they want to specialize and they want to go to America for reasons of studies, for reasons of continuing the studying, they can then go for higher education, for postgrad degrees in America. Not as a family, but the children on their own. So they've already ripened, they've already become mature inside of that correct way of life, inside of their Orthodox country, their Orthodox land. David, I went to England, I went to America, and I spoke because they invited me to say certain things and speak. And I saw many other people from Cyprus who were living in those countries, and I was very upset in that I saw people who were very well known to me were living very okay and very okay economically, but unfortunately their families were wounded because one person married a lady who was Muslim, a person who was in another religion, and they separated their family, and they were not the right prerequisites so that they might start their own families in the right way. That's why be careful. You have a responsibility for your children, the way they might set up their own families. And you have that very great gift from God so that you live inside of an Orthodox nation which has left communism as it might have been years beforehand. And now, even with those difficulties that you might have with other nations there, you're one of those nations which lives with a relative freedom, and you have peace. Take advantage and exploit this time of peace as much as you can for your families. Thank you very much, Elder. Thank you.
Lika Kwirikashvili. Microphone charted.
ესეთი კითხვა მაქვს. რა უნდა გავაკეთოთ იმისთვის, რომ ოჯახის ყველა წევრი ქრისტეს მაძიებელი გახდეს?
What should we do so that all the members of our family might start to search and ask for Christ? As much as you can, work together for that salvation of your soul. As much as you can, might one person influence the other person inside of the family, so that every person together in the family as a unit and as a whole might search and thirst for Christ. And prayer, a lot of prayer. A lot of prayer, as much as you can, pray. I had a teacher, I've said it before, this story, and she was a teacher, a mathematics teacher. And they put her in charge of the final school of high school, year 12. And she was a little bit crazy. She came and found me one time. And she said to me, Yerona, I have to leave the school. I can't handle any more teaching the children here. And I said to her, why do you want to leave? And she said, I want to change class, but the government won't let me change. I can't change. She said, everyone is very rebellious, very difficult. No one listens to me in class. And I said to her, did you ever pray for your students in the classes? She said, I never thought about that. Well, that's a big mistake, to not pray about a problem that you might have. She said, I don't have time to pray for my students. I said, is it possible that you might say that you don't have time? I said, going from one classroom to another classroom. And she said, oh, it's a long way from one class to another. The teacher's room to the classroom is a long way away. And I said to her, okay, pray from the teacher's room to the classroom. Pray for the students. 3 months later, I went down to Athens and I found her again. She found me and she said to me, all the students have become like lambs now. That's why you pray for your brothers and sisters, pray for your siblings. Prayer does a lot of miracles. And commemorate those names inside of the divine liturgy. It will be a blessing for them, it has a very, very great strength. The commemoration of those names inside the divine liturgy. And that's why I'm saying that thing as well. To priests that I'm about to say. There's a monk from the monastery of Dionysiou. Took the holy relics of the monastery. Took the holy relics down to the boat of the monastery. And they gave to them people who were venerating them many, many names to commemorate as they took the holy relics. And one of the priests then who took the names to commemorate in the divine liturgy said, oh, there's a lot of names here, how can we commemorate them all? Oh, we'll just say them quickly or we'll just pass the papers. He went the next day to St. Baisios to visit him. As soon as St. Baisios saw that priest who said there were too many names, he said, Father Dionysios, we don't commemorate the names just by looking at the pages with our eyes. We commemorate the names by saying them with great pain in our heart. And he revealed this to him. And this Father Dionysius who was there said this to me in person. I heard this firsthand. That's why we should always pray for those people who have need with great pain in our heart. We should pray with great pain. I think, Mr. Nicholas, we've finished. Father Theodore can give us a last final message and we can finish up. I think you have the last word. I'll have the second to last word. Once again, I'd like to thank you, Elder Ephraim, Mr. Nikos, and all of the Brotherhood. Mr. Nikos has also been invited by you there. And I gave him the blessing to go to Georgia and to see you there. We'll be very joyed to see him here. For us, this meeting with you is a very great blessing. And we don't have anything to give, we're poor as well. I'm a very poor person spiritually, but what can I do? I give what I have. But I give it at least with a lot of love.
მინდა ვისწავლო ბერძნული, მაგრამ ერთხელ მეუფე ათანასებით რა უკვე დაბერდიო და აღარ ვიცი რა უკვე.
The only thing that concerns me on that issue is the difficulty of language. I thought to learn Greek, but the Bishop Lemesus says you're too old. It's not easy to learn Greek now. It's not easy to learn a new language. The only thing I believe is that in the kingdom of heaven, language won't be a problem. He goes, it's okay, maybe Georgian will be the language that I will speak in the kingdom of heaven. Yes, and I'm glad that I see you're holding the same kubuskini, the same prayer rope that I gave to you when you came here. Thank you very much. And please pass over our medania to ask the blessing of the Patriarch there. And you should know, as many times as we might meet the Patriarch, he always asks about you. He's very concerned. And today we also spoke with the Metropolitan Shiu, and he also sends over his blessings and his prayers for you. We lost contact with the bishop, with Shiu. Tell him that we exist too. We're here as well. If he remembers to us at some point, somewhere, we'll tell him as well. I pray that the Mother of God might be with you, that you might continue there, your struggles and your efforts for your spiritual children, so that you might increase and the quality and the quantity, but first the quality of your spiritual endeavors. And may the saints, who you have them there with you in front of you, might they help you, might they strengthen you, and might their blessings be unto us as well, so that we might go there and celebrate the divine liturgy with you as well there. Christ is in our midst. Christ is risen. Truly he is risen. We are with you and through your prayers. Christ is risen from the dead, by death having trampled on death, and to those in the tombs restoring life. Amen.